Hey y'all, how's it going? So this is a morning of new adventures, yeah? Alright? So this is a project that popped into my head uh, during this whole time, during this whole adventure that we're all going through. Um, I was thinking about, I was thinking about what we need as dancers. You know, I did my first in-house masterclass earlier in the week, and I was just thinking that it's what do dancers need? What do we need as dancers? You know, and the first thing that popped in my head was space. um, this whole adventure is new for us. You know, we're teaching classes from our kitchens or our sitting rooms or wherever you may be teaching or taking classes. And the first thing that dancers need is space. You know, that's kind of the canvas that we all start to paint on, you know. And it's been interesting, you know. All of us are figuring out new things. We're doing new adventures and teaching classes and FaceTiming classes and things like that so that we can give corrections. But also we're trying to, ballet is not, or dance in general, is not just about class. In fact, hopefully that's just a tool. You know, that's just sharpening your knife so you can, you know, actually sit there and sculpt what you want. So I was thinking the first thing we need is space, which we don't have now. So what happens? So what do we do? What do we do to still keep on not just honing our skills, but actually like creating art? Which brought me to a lot of like looking at what my friends were doing online and things like that. I saw a picture of a really good friend of mine, Oliver Green Kramer, who dances for Ballet Austin. He just posted a picture of himself with his back to the camera in the corner, and the first thing that popped in my head was I was looking at all the lines that were created in it and the negative space, and my brain went to all these lines, you know, and it was funny to me that there was no movement in the picture. There was no like true movement. It was just a static picture. But as a dancer, my brain goes to what lines are created. As a choreographer, especially, I feel like what lines are created, a ballet choreographer especially, you know, which then started me thinking about lines. Like ballet created all of these ethereal lines. The modern tried to ground those, tried to like humanize them in a lot of ways to take it out of the ethereal plane and make it a more personal experience. We're going back into the mid 1900s. So like all of this change happened in our art form, and then contemporary came about. And I didn't really catch on to what contemporary was for, I think, longer than a lot of people. Contemporary for me, I always wanted it to be contemporary ballet or contemporary modern, contemporary jazz. Like I needed some kind of explanation of what it was. And then I started seeing some work that I really was stunning and that like I was blown away by. And as I looked at that picture of Oliver and was thinking about lines, I got this idea that maybe contemporary choreography is breaking yet another barrier for us. Yeah? Ballet created these ethereal lines. Modern tried to like ground all of this and create movement and line through like the earth and through the human. Maybe we've just put all these lines into our brains for so long now that contemporary movement grabs a hold of those lines that we already see. That picture of Oliver, I didn't try and see a line, it just is what popped in my brain. Maybe we, in contemporary choreography, have just taken those lines as a given. Like those lines are there, you know, an arabesque line is there. It creates this huge, beautiful arc across stage, and, you know, we already see those lines. They're in our brains already, so let's ride them. And I feel like contemporary choreography that speaks to me rides those lines. It sees those lines, it takes them as a given, and then the movement grabs a hold of one, and then where another line intersects, it grabs a hold of the next and moves through that. So it's connecting all of these lines, well, riding all of these lines that are already connected. Just a concept, just an idea. Coming from pure dancer, audience, choreographer perspective, just from someone who's watching it, this isn't a study or anything like that. It's just, what a cool concept that we've now gone to movement that takes what we have and rides it and tries to like see where and how many little intersections that it can roll on and move from one to the next. And it really spoke to me. I was thinking about as all of this thought was boiling around in my brain, because what else do we have to do right now? Be in our house and think. I was thinking of and I can't remember the name of it, a piece of a friend of mine, Dylan Crossman's, which I saw in rehearsal, and in his rehearsal process, I really had no idea what was going on. I was watching and I was trying to feel where things happened. Then when I saw it on stage, I understood it immediately. As soon as dancers started to cross stage, I knew where the next things were going to happen without knowing. I saw those lines that, and I don't think that this is a conscious choice, but those lines that ended up making the next movement, it made so much sense in a purely nonsensical way. Like in a way that I wouldn't sit there and go, that's what's going to happen. But then as soon as it happened, I went, what else could happen? And it was just really cool to think about that piece again. And I enjoyed it so much. And I think that for me, as an audience member, this is something that I think good contemporary choreography does. It was interesting to think all of this, and it got me as a choreographer, it got my juices flowing. I wanted to create work. But yet again, we go back to the first concept, dancers need space. And this is the space we have. We're in a new time, we're in a new adventure of all of this. Social distancing and social media dance. It's a wild new ride for so many of us. With that in mind, I was thinking of a friend of mine, Christopher Fleming, who got me a gig choreographing this stuff called disky dance, which, look it up, it's really interesting, it's wild. It's basically playing soccer without a ball. So you do all of these kicks and catches and things like that, and like catching it on your neck. And it was a gig choreographing for this team that if they won, they got to go to the World Cup. Those kids were juiced, and I had no idea what I was doing. This is a brand new thing. I'd never learned what disky dance was. And it was such a huge learning experience for me. I went into this room with these children who were ready to learn and do new things, and I was scared to death, and I said, okay, hop on in, figure it out, do it. We did great. We had a blast, and I got out of my shell of being a choreographer. We all have our go-tos, and it was such a great experience for me, and I appreciate Chris's giving that gig to me too, because I learned and opened up my perspective immensely. The team came in second, and second place was just getting a hat, which was kind of a letdown. But but they had a blast doing it. We all did. And I learned a bunch of new things, and I took chances that I didn't even know were in the possibility of taking the chance. I didn't know that this thing existed, and wow, what a blast. So that all led me to what I want to do today. I'm going to start a piece today. I'm going to start choreographing a small piece, and I'm going to let you guys see a little bit of the process. I mean, this is all new for me. Contemporary choreographers that I've had the luxury of being around, especially at Brooklyn Ballet, and then here when I came to New York State Ballet. My wheelhouse is contemporary ballet, neoclassical ballet. These are the things that I know very well. True contemporary choreography isn't necessarily my wheelhouse. But what I wanted to do today was take those inspirations from people like Zach Frazee of Frazee Feet here in Rochester, or Dylan Crossman, or Maria Conrad, or Sarah Tallman. These people who, they do amazing things. I've seen some of the work of my friend Ashley Daigle, and it's just wild to see what they do. And I wanted to start to create a piece. I want to start this piece and then give it to you. I don't think that we all have the capability of choreographing right now in a large sense. So let's create something together. So I'm going to start this piece. I'm going to start this piece. I'm going to do, 15, 20, 30 seconds. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. After that, it's out in the world. If you want to choreograph, if you're a choreographer, or if you're trying to figure that out, tag on from where I leave off and continue the piece. Let's see how far this goes. Let's see what we can do as a global society to make dance, to create art, to take the time where I start this piece, someone else continues it, and then post the videos. Please post the videos to New York State Ballet. Post them on your own and kind of play telephone. Add the pieces together that will create a full piece. I'm not going to do this to music today. Any composer friends of mine, any musician friends of mine, or out there in the world in general, create music to this. Let's see what happens if we all start a piece together and then add on to it and see where it goes. It's a wild concept, and yes, it has every possibility of doing wonderful, amazing things, or nobody could get inspired and it could be that other people just choreograph their own thing. But right now, I think if we share in choreography and share in creating, we're sharing our world. And that's super important to me. I think it's super important to all of us. We're not getting to hang out with our friends. You don't get that hug and the pat on the back. Let's do what we know and pass it along. So I'll start the piece. Whoever wants to tag onto it. When you tag onto it, please do the original choreography that I started and then add yours on top of that so that we get a through line and we can see what the piece builds like. It's going to be harder if we have to snip videos together, but if it keeps growing and we see what the complete piece is about, and yes, there might be 30 different variations of this, once you see someone else tag on and you watch that video, tag on to where they've tagged on, so it keeps growing. And like I said, musicians, you can do the same thing. If you get really inspired by the first 2 people who choreograph, and then you want to run and do that part, and then somebody else tags on and continues after that, let's see what happens if we actually pass the choreography along, pass the music along, and see what happens. So I'm going to let you in on my process a little bit of it. I'm probably not going to talk much about it. I'm going to grow this as it happens. Come along with me. Maybe I do something that I end up throwing away and you're like, I want to run on that. All right. So we're going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to put it together, and then at the end of it all, I'll make sure I run the full thing a couple times. And then, like I said, see what happens. Move it forward. Let's see what happens with it. Yeah? All right, here we go.
Before you do that, I have to fix the camera.
We're doing a little bit of tech support here.
Do me a favor. The laptop's sitting there. I want to make sure it's now in the correct place. No, I just want you to check.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Because for some reason it wouldn't You were sitting, when I turned it sideways, you were upside down.
Everybody say hi, Jess.
When I did this, you were still sideways. It wouldn't let me turn you. Now it's saying that you're fine, so I don't know.
Think we're good?
Okay.
Now I'm sideways.
I don't understand. Your phone doesn't want to stand up.
Now I'm upright. We're good.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
We're gonna have to stand it up. Except it won't stand up.
Technical difficulties.
Right?
Please stand by. I'm still sideways.
That don't make no sense.
Wait. We're good.
Okay.
Sweet.
I don't know. Okay.
Everyone can see me, right? Hi. Whether I'm sideways or upright or you name it. So funny, that whole like perfectionistic like ballet dancer mentality right now, like all of that just freaked me out like way deep down in my soul, because this is like performance, because people are watching. Like there was that one moment of anxious like, everybody sees the, yet again, a new world, a new new changes, yes? So, all right, I'm gonna start this thing. Pardon me for not talking to you maybe for a minute or two. We'll see where it goes. Coffee, big help. As most of the dancers that I work with or have worked with know, there'll be like version A, B, C, D, E. Run with it, yes? Dancing, not. So, I wish I had dancers here because I always forget what I did and then like have to do the math problem back. So hopefully we're good on that. This is where I start to forget. Going back just a little bit. I like that better. I like that a lot better. I think I like that shape better too. It's weird doing this in a room completely alone. Like usually sorry, pause for a moment. Usually this part gets done and then I come into the studio and people see it and you get that like banter, you know? That like, is it this, is it this, is it this, is it this, is it this? Oh, what if we do this, you know? That's the choreography that always gets my brain geeking. It's so interesting to do this. First off, I start musically. So not having music is like, I swear I hear crickets. But then not getting that banter, it's really interesting to like not have bounce, you know? It's really wild for me. I just want to like keep you guys posted on like the nuance for me as a choreographer, because I feel like when you start to choreograph or when you're choreographing, there's like places you go, thoughts you have, things that are natural, things that are normal, and then there's this time that's like nothing. It's wild. It's a wild thing. Kind of like that. So I'm going to start way back here so that I have some place to move. All right. I think that's where I'm going to like kind of stop. Yeah, I think so. like the build. Yeah, I like the go and slow and go and slow and go and slow kind of feel. So just as we start to play, this whole lines concept that I was talking about, the first line, I'm trying to work this thing in my head. Yeah, so this line goes across, and then there's a line that loops off of it. So we start, and then a big loop. So like little circle straight and big. So we get little circle straight. So as if I'm running on this line, then there's another line that comes back this way. I almost tried to draw that last night, like trying to figure out like what I wanted to do, and just drew lines and play. A friend of mine, Julia, would sometimes just draw patterns and like formations and things, and it was always interesting to me. It was this great jumping point, I feel. Amazing choreographer, amazing mind. So we have that first thing, that's that sharp and back, or swirl sharp and back. And then it connects the two lines. And then it starts to go forward sharp again. And then this is like running the pen back and forth, like cross, back, cross. A line that goes so slowly all the way around. And then back into writing back and forth. I like this slow and then the build into faster so that it comes back. Then it just jumbles down. And big to straight, and that's where the straight line comes again, and we start to move from one place to another. Yeah, this might just be Rob being crazy, this whole line concept. But I feel like any way you choreograph is kind of a good way to choreograph, yeah. What inspires you? What new concept are you going to grab a hold of and start to run with? All of that kind of play. So as this moves forward to somebody else, if you want this whole line concept, throw it out the window and you just play the way you play, that's fine. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, let's all play in our own ways and see what happens. If you can help and maybe explain the process a bit, that's great. But if you're just putting out work too, like, play, all right? I don't know if musicians work exactly the same way. I'm musically fine, but I can't play a dang thing. So, like, I don't know. Please comment. Please throw it out there as you if music and writing music for this. Be like, oh yeah, I see that. I played that this way because of this string, and yeah, run with it in your own way. I think sharing new ideas is so important in this time. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try and do it twice through the same way. Good luck with that, right? Yeah. All right. Also going to try and keep the tempos the way that I'm feeling them. Another thing that you can do as a choreographer, play the tempos, play the manipulation and the syncopations of it if you want, you know. I might do a video later where this all becomes faster, or when other people add on that this becomes faster and then that becomes slower. I might play with that too, because that way we are all sharing not just choreography stepwise, but the actual like intent, the intensities of everything. Yeah? All right. Try to do it twice. The same way. Good luck, Rob, right? I think I can go further with the syncopations, yeah? Further with the give and take. I talk to the phone just like I do the dancers, yeah? And then I wait for the, yeah. All right. So one last time. We'll play the video so you can go back again and again and figure out and play. Especially, there's something that I threw away. If anybody wants to play with that stuff, because I think it was good, it's not what made sense in the moment. That too, like play those things too, yeah? All right. Last time, best time, right? I think that's good. Yeah? I think that's enough, yeah? So, trying to get on the screen for both, yeah? So there you have it. There's the beginning of something. Who knows what? This whole collective choreography, collaborative choreography. Let's see what happens. Maybe this is something super, super freaking, and we all create a piece together, and every dance company, once we get out of this craziness, sets it with like 30 dancers or 10 dancers or whatever the company is. We all set what it was choreographed while we were here in our living rooms, you know? And we put it on, 5 dancers doing this section that start, and 10 that start this, and then the solo that it's this part to this part to this part. No ownership, personally, I have no ownership over this choreography. This is out in the world, it's ours. I was gonna say yours, but no, it's ours, yeah? So run with it. Any choreographer friends who want to, any new choreographers, run with it, yeah? See what happens next. I'm so excited to see what happens next, yes? Once we do this and we start adding videos together, please post them to New York State Ballet. We'll play. It's new things, It's a new adventure, and I'd love to see, I want to see what we do with this, what does with this, yeah? So musicians, if this inspires you, come on out, check it out, throw some music down, let's see what it sounds like, yeah? All right, I really appreciate everyone who decided to catch on to this and see what happens. In this time, we all are very, very, all arts organizations are trying to figure this out, yeah? We will figure this out. It will be a rebirth of our art, yeah? We are coming back after this. Every company will be strong. It's going to be a hard time. If any of you out there who are non-dancers, or our dancers friends, if you can donate $1 to your local art, take the time, donate to your local art, support your friends in the arts community, keep them relevant on social media, keep the arts out in. When we come back, we're going to be stronger. We're going to come back, we're going to entertain, we're going to inspire, we're going to enlighten our audiences. So please take the time, find your friends, help them out, support each other in this. Us here at New York State Ballet, we're working hard to make sure that everything gets up and running, that we give you as much as we can while we're in this. And when we come back, we'll come back even stronger, you know, we appreciate you guys so much, and we will move forward from this. Always forward, yes? Take care.
Cool.
Make sure we save it before